Good evening, and welcome to U Talk, where we discuss big things, small things, medium things, but we talk and we hope to entertain you. The last thing we discussed was if there was an end in sight to gambling stranglehold on Australia's short and curlies, but it led into the question of how we can create an economy that is fair and just for all, if it's the sort of thing that you can plaster over, stick a band-aid on, or if it requires a deeper structural re-engineering. And Kyle, ever the fan of structural re-engineering of very, very intricate political systems, would like to tell us how we can restructure Australia's economy, but only if we should. So, Kyle, tell us, what's going on with the economy? Why is it cooked? Do we need to just restructure the entire damn thing? And if so, how?
Okay, so there's a lot here. A lot. Like
I really did
a
think it was better
massive
to,
amount.
burn
Yeah.
the suitcase instead of unpacking it, but you do you.
Well, see,
Hmm.
here's the thing. The economy in most regards is not bad in terms of the way it works. The problem is a few industries and a few, shall we say, lackings in the law regarding those industries. So ideally, you want investments in an economy. That is when somebody puts money into something with the expectation of return. You want that to
Mm.
produce something. For example, you buy a bunch of seeds, that's an investment. You plant the apple trees, you grow the apple trees, you then either make cider or sell the apples. But either way, you get a return there and you have produced something of value.
Though, even so, wouldn't you say that it is not necessarily the production of something that is necessarily valuable? For instance, I invest in photographic film. I take photographs. None of my photographs have been sold, only a few have been exhibited. But I have produced something that, like, I don't have to sell for it to have value. Like, I
Mm.
don't buy fountain pen ink because I intend to write the Constitution. I buy fountain pen ink because it lets me write. And right now it's furthering my education, but
Yeah, so the for okay, to produce something of value doesn't necessarily mean monetary value, but
Mm.
in economic terms, we are kind of talking about monetary value. So I'm going to be restricting at least myself in this discussion to that.
That was why I wanted to get ahead of that, because I think we do need to acknowledge that what we're really going for here is the difference between tangibles and intangibles.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, there's
like
that,
there
and then
needs to
there's
be
also
something
then
that you can point to and say this is my return on investment.
yeah, and there's that, and then there's speculation type investing. Um, for example, well, we've talked about it a lot, but the property market. People invest in property because they believe it will go up in value. But you
Yep.
can't have something always increasing in value unless you're restricting the supply continuously. And
Oh,
then,
hey,
and
that
even
sounds
then,
suspiciously like the Sydney rental market.
that is the Sydney rental market. Very good, Horst. Sorry, I was just I almost slipped into ultra sarcasm, Kyle, for a second there. That was yeah.
God damn.
Uh
Okay.
it's let's not do that now, otherwise I'm gonna give zero bleeps. So right now, the biggest problem with Australia's economy is that we are seeing people invest mostly in property. I actually found out that 51% of the nation's total wealth is invested in some form of property. It used
That
to
is
be
horrifying.
it used to be 40 when I checked it about 5 years ago, and when I predicted that the economy would crash based on the thoughts of various economists that I listened to. Now it's 51. Back then, if property prices dropped by 30%, that would mean instantly a loss in the total wealth of this nation of 12%. If housing prices drop by 30%, then that is 30% of 40%, which is 12%. I think. Yes. I'm a little off today, but I believe that math is sound.
Good enough for government work.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to
Sadly.
redo that in my head, right?
Yeah, it's all right. So yeah, because 30% of 40% is 12. Yes. So essentially that's 12%. I recalculated it recently and I forget what the number is, but I do have a calculator on hand, and so I can right now go 51 times 0.3 and wait, no, that's not right. 51, I added another zero there. 0.3. There we go. That's 15.3%. Now, based on various bits of information, I predicted that we could see a drop in the total wealth in the nation, essentially the total size of the economy, of anywhere up to 24%, based on how things go. That it probably wouldn't be that bad because we have, a government instead of just a bunch of consultants in charge right now. But at the same time,
I would like
new
to
number,
just take this opportunity for legal reasons to point out that the Liberal Party is not actually a bunch of consultants. They're a bunch of people who hope that when they've left government, they will be offered high-paying consulting positions.
that's close enough to me. Anyway, so in that regard, we could see, let's just say that it gets mishandled. What I thought of as my doomsday scenario 5 years ago of 30%, if it's poorly handled. If it's well handled, it could be limited to about 21 or 22%. I suspect it could even be less than that, but like that'd take Rudd levels of economic miracle.
Okay, so would you say based on those numbers that you've pulled up and based on the historic trends, would you say that the investment in keeping the property market buoyant has led to a situation where a government cannot suddenly just stop because of the economic collapse that would occur?
The government could stop, but problem is it wouldn't matter now. What should have happened 8 years ago now, God, time flies. What should have happened in 2015 is interest rates should have started to rise then. Because that would have, we would have seen a downturn, but it wouldn't be a crash of the economy. It'd just be the property market, and it wouldn't be that bad.
Unless you had all your assets in the property market.
Well, unless that, but nowadays it's a lot more likely to be that because now it's over half the economy. Over half of wealth in Australia is invested into that. 51%.
It's sort of like the if not I, then who, and if not now, then when.
Yeah.
Like there is I'm sort of
that's kind of my philosophy.
Going back, there was a failure to the act of intervening to not let the free market decide, shall we say? And that haven't you noticed that's always what they like, the free market deciding until the free market
doesn't exist. The market, not free market. The market is a construct created by the laws and regulations of government.
I know, but I'm just pointing out they always say they always say free market, low interference. It's not you. You just got me triggered. Decide.
But anyway, we're running out of time.
Letting the market decide way back then may have in fact allowed this situation to be less catastrophic now by creating a short-term difficulty for a smaller group of people.
Yeah. Instead, now it's going to take the whole economy with it. And my doomsday scenario is like the mid-level scenario. Like the thing is, the doomsday scenario is now the mid-level scenario, and the doomsday scenario is approaching 40%.
Okay, let's not scare the landlord type people too much.
Oh, those people deserve to be scared. It's everyone else that does that. Well, there's nothing they can do. Interest rates are going to go up unless, if they bring interest rates down, we get stagflation. Okay, stagnation in the economy and inflation it goes up.
$1 million lira for a loaf of bread.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. The original question, does the economy need restructuring? Well, sort of. it's not so much restructuring, it's more various tweaks. Because if we tweak the economy, particularly certain regulations, then what we could do is we could have an economy that incentivizes production, the production of goods that represent wealth, rather than just asset speculation. See,
It
I've come to
sounds a
realize
lot
that.
like
Well,
the
let me finish this, because I've come to realize throughout history, because I studied historical economics. That's how I actually learned about economics. Is I chose to study the history because I thought it'd give me deeper insights. And one thing that I've learned is that every single economic crash throughout history has been asset speculation. Every one, every single one. I can't find one that wasn't caused by asset speculation. Well, except for natural disasters, but that's a different thing. Natural disasters.
Yeah, you were speculating that nature wouldn't decide to say fuck you this morning.
Well, I mean, you could put it that way. But see, that's the thing. If it wasn't nature deciding that, then it was an asset speculation. And that's every single. Yeah. Anyway, I'm slightly losing coherence at the moment. Need to go get something to eat. But do we need restructuring? Not quite, but we do need a restructuring in what the economy incentivizes. Because right now, all the tax concessions, all of that is given to asset speculators. All of the incentives are for asset speculation. We need incentives for production of new goods that represent wealth.
So I have some thoughts here, some very strong thoughts, and I'm going
We've
to
run over time, so keep it quick.
Oh, I'll keep. Okay.
I'm gonna
To the government of Australia, stop cheaping out. Stop getting people to produce shit in places that aren't here. Because then we don't have jobs, we don't have production, a pandemic hits and we don't have half the shit we need, and we don't have the circulation of currency. Build some factories, you cowards.
Oh, on that, I've actually figured out that completely forgot about that, but you've just reminded me. We could have all those factories be government business enterprises, and the government, basically, there was the idea of the Buy Australia Act, which is that government projects or public works need to buy from Australian businesses. We could just have them buy from government business enterprises, and there should be a government business enterprise in every single industry. That way, we have a guaranteed customer and a guaranteed competitor to bring prices down. Because you can't keep a monopoly on something. You can't create artificial scarcity if there is a competitor actively doing the opposite of that.
Yep.
So probably should have talked a little bit more about that, but as I said, I'm losing coherence. So we'll catch you later. Hope that's been insightful. Have a good one.
Take care.